Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back. With nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome to another edition of Uncluttered and Unfiltered. I'm Eden.
And I'm Christine.
And so we are going to start off with a little scolding, I understand. Is that right?
Yes.
You're going to give me a hard time?
Yes, right. I am going to give you a hard time.
Well, before that, let's tell everybody that this is our hair episode. We've covered a lot of different topics, and one topic we have yet to get to, other than just me sitting here admiring your beautiful hair, Christine.
Well, thank you.
Is just all things hair and how it relates to everybody who is getting older, whether you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, on up. I hate to do on up because, you know what, I have a friend who is in her 70s and she loves our show and she doesn't want to be an and up. So we'll say 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100 and up.
Yes.
Okay, if you're 100
like
and
that.
up.
And we'll take 100-year-olds. I love that too.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm a little tired today. I will confess to having maybe done too much this weekend.
And when you told me this, that you were that exhausted, that you practically had to be picked up, I thought, this is why I'm a homebody and you're not, because I could not believe it. I really felt like your mother for a minute and wanted to say something, but I zipped it.
I'll give you a recap just so you can feel. This isn't a flex. This is just me telling you my weekend so that you can get to know me a little bit better, I guess. So I met up with some girlfriends on Saturday morning for a run, and we ran many miles, and then we decided to go to the weight room and lift a little bit of weight.
I'm already exhausted.
And in the course of that time, I got a text from another friend, a girlfriend of mine who has a jet ski. And she said, would you like to go jet skiing up and down the waterway with me today? And I thought, how hard can that be? That can't be exhausting. It's just riding on the back of a jet ski. But we were zooming down the Intracoastal with a great soundtrack playing. She had a playlist going, and it was this big, giant jet ski. And we're going up and very exciting, very full of adrenaline. So then the next morning I woke up and I went to the gym, but I had my husband drop me off so I could run home. And that's when I had to have him pick me up halfway.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's when I said, you know what? I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit exhausted.
That just sounds exhausting. I mean, exhausting. I went and met my mother for lunch on Saturday, and that was the highlight of my day.
That sounds nice.
And I went to bed Saturday night at 9 o'clock and was totally well rested and ready for my Sunday. So this is why you're Eden and I'm Christine.
So are you an Eden or are you a Christine? If you are somebody who has hair battles daily because, you know, you wake up and your hair is giant, then you're an Eden. If you are the queen of flowy, beautiful locks, then you're a Christine. So let's talk a little bit about hair before we bring in our special guest.
Well, here's the thing. This is probably the most requested topic I even get on Neatly Designed is about my hair. And I have to tell you, it has not always been like this.
Really?
I grew up in the 70s. Blow dryers had just come out. I have very thick, coarse, curly, wiry hair. They did not have flat irons. They did not have curling irons. And so the shag haircut was really popular, also known kind of as the Dorothy Hamill haircut.
Oh, yes.
There were two different ones. And I was in 4th grade and I went in and my mother said, yeah, she wants this Dorothy Hamill haircut or, you know, and she came back, she dropped me off, then came back to pick me up. And I was hysterical crying, hysterical.
Because it didn't lay the way you thought it would, right?
Oh, my God. I went to school the next day, and everyone thought they had a new boy in the class. And they were like, who's the new kid? I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. So the thing about hair, and I always tell people this because I've done videos about my hair, really, you have to work with your hair type. Like someone who has fine, thin hair could not relate to this hair. They could not even blow dry this hair because it is it's work to blow dry this.
It's a living, breathing thing.
I mean, I have enough hair on my head to, have 2 different sets of hair, but it is thinning in areas. now that I'm getting older. It is a different texture now that I'm getting older. So this brings us to hair and all the different kinds of hair. Is long hair good for older people? You know what I mean? It's just been such a topic amongst women.
Well, I have my own stories. Boy, do I ever. But the star of most of my stories is sitting next to us, and her name is Marcy DeSanto.
Hello.
Marcy is a hairstylist, and she has a lot to say, but her voice is much more quiet than mine. So I'm going to ask you, Marcy, to really lean in.
Absolutely. I will
Thank you.
lean in.
Hey, Marcy.
Well, let's clear the hair. How about that?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So I'll tell a little bit of my story too, and Marcy, feel free to chime in. I have difficult hair. Would you agree?
Yes, you have difficult hair.
And I went through a lot of the same things you did, Christine, when I was little. I also went in for she did a commercial, Dorothy Hamill, the ice skater, for a shampoo called Short and Sassy.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to be short and
Yes.
sassy. And I had the same thing going. I had a picture in my mind of what it could look like, but of course, it didn't. It looked like a bowl, like a big giant bowl.
Yes.
Marcy has talked to me about mushroom head.
Oh, yeah.
She's very honest. So my personal difficulty is, especially as it got grayer, it got coarser, I just have, what do I have? It's curly now, we know.
Well, so listening to Christine talk about her hair, I feel like that you both have a very similar fabric. I like to talk about hair being a fabric. And diagnose the person's hair first. So understanding what fabric you have. And then, of course, there's going to be some changes with age. So I would say, similarly, you both have a similar fabric. Your fabric is naturally curly, Christine, as you would say.
Yes, I'm naturally
coarse.
curly.
So I would liken that to a fabric that's like a denim-ish.
Yes.
With a little bit of, like a line-dry denim, I would say, So the line-dry denim has the, it's a little stiff. It has some coarseness to it. Eden, your fabric is much the same, but then you also have texture to it as well, which is the curl. How curly is your hair typically? Like if you were to let your hair air dry, Christine, what is your fabric
It all
look
depends on the cut and how long it is. The length weighs it down.
Yes.
So it's more just wavy. And of course I have to put tons of product in so it doesn't go into the frizzy versus wavy. So when it's short, it's like, I don't know if anyone remembers Rosanna Dano, but it's wide and like a mushroom.
Like a triangle.
Like a
Yes,
mushroom.
yes.
Okay. Now, you said that you have some changes with your hair with age. What are you noticing with your hair?
Well, I notice a few things. One, the ends are drier, the scalp is oilier.
Okay.
And two, thinning around the front. Okay. And I wear a lot of ponytails, so I do kind of contribute that to it because my hair's so heavy. So when I put my hair up in a bun or a ponytail, kind of, so I should probably stop doing that. But it's so hot. And when you're in menopause and you have hair that's thick on your neck, you kind of wear it up a lot.
Right. Absolutely. So the dryness that you're experiencing on your ends, if we think about the hair as a fabric, like what we said, this fabric is older than this fabric. So this has more natural oil because it's new. Whereas as the midshaft and the ends, it tends to get drier because of the length and the age of the hair, just as much as like a shirt. If you think about a fabric, or we said denim is your fabric. So the more that you wash it, the more that it's aged, the fabric just gets a little different.
But I always wish my hair was like jeans in that, when you wash and wash and wash and then they get really soft. Like, Marcy, you have hair like, your fabric is more like a silk, and I envy that. And haven't you always, Christine, looked at these women who have hair like silk? And
I wanted Marsha Brady hair.
Yeah, that's like silk.
I mean, I wanted Marsha Brady hair, and I don't know what kind of hair I had during that era, but it definitely was nothing close.
Right.
It was more like Cindy Brady. You know what I mean?
Poor Cindy. Yeah. So can we get to what she just mentioned about the ponytails? Should she not be wearing ponytails?
I don't necessarily agree with that. What I would say is typically putting glasses on and off. If somebody does that with sunglasses, if there's a little bit of a tension within the glass, I've noticed that can kind of pull the hair. Pulling the hair back like this doesn't necessarily.
Well, no, it's usually
opinion.
up, not back, because it's still too hot, even in a back
so you
ponytail.
Put it
all the way up in a bun, or a twisted ponytail or something, just to get it up off my neck.
Right. Okay. I personally think that it's more when you're using your hands or something like this the hair that is around the face is a little bit more of a weaker fabric. So there is less protein within the hair. So that could, I guess, when you're pulling it back, maybe pull back that.
Is there anything to help that thinning around the hairline? I hear women complain about that more than anything else when it comes to thinning. It's not so much, in the back, or it's right around the hairline, and they use powders to cover it up and, stuff like that.
There really, there's protein products that you can actually use just to apply to those little hairs. You also have to be very gentle when you're styling the hair with the iron. Typically that hair is a little fuzzier, so people concentrate the iron on that. Well, that hair does not have the same strength. So you're actually breaking it and doing more damage. When your stylist is coloring your hair, a lot of people like it a little blonder around the face, or, change it, a little money piece, they like to call it, that is a little brighter. And you don't want to you want to watch your stylist, make sure that they're not over applying color on top of color, because that will weaken the hair as well. The other thing that I have really noticed a huge change in is vitamins for the hair.
Yes, I take vitamins too.
Yes, there's a wonderful vitamin that I have noticed tremendous change with my hair, being a silker fabric and wearing it long and highlighting it. That's a lot on the hair. And it's called Viviscal, is one that I'm using right now, and it's a professional vitamin that I love.
Do you take it or do you apply it?
You're taking it,
and
I take it twice a day.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually great for your hair, your skin, and your nails.
What's in it that makes it work?
Well, this one specifically has shark cartilage.
Yeah, I heard
in
about
it.
that.
Yes, and which you're also getting your omegas. It also has zinc and biotin. There's other vitamins. Biotin is a big one. There's, GNC has hair vitamins. So really, as we age, things are changing. We're getting drier everywhere.
That's for sure.
That's another show. We thought we would save that one for our Valentine's Day show. But
what about haircut? Everyone says older women should not have long hair, that you should cut your hair shorter, which, by the way, will never happen.
Listen.
Because we've already been through that. But what is your thought on hairstyles for women, say, over 50?
So that's a big old wives' tale, or probably a men's tale. I don't know. It's not true. So as we age, let's think about assets and liabilities.
Okay.
You want to use your assets to the best of your ability, right? Mm-hmm. So if you got great hair, it's youthful. Wear it longer. It's your asset. If it's fine and it's compromised in color as well as texture, just put it in a style that is more youthful, updated. Typically when your hair's fine, you want to have more of a weighted style because you want the hair to support itself. But length, having to wear your hair shorter because you're getting older is not accurate. Actually, I will say that typically when people wear their hair shorter as they get older, you got to play it up with some jewelry and makeup and really get yourself looking more feminine. That
if that's indeed the look you're going for,
if that's
right.
indeed the look that you're going for, exactly. If you're not, if you're combating the age factor, you want to. It depends on what you want.
So for years, Marcy would ask me to at least just entertain the idea of wearing my hair curly, and she would give me instructions. And, I'd try it out, but then I'd get all freaked out and it was too much and my poor husband would be like, whoa. And, you feed off of that kind of
You do. Right? You really do.
So then I started doing more like on camera things, and I really couldn't predict what my hair would do. So we opted for the pixie cut. And let's talk about that. That was an ordeal. And I don't want to forget the fact that our friend, that your colleague at the time, April, came in during that haircut too, and it kind of brought everything into, I guess, perspective for me. But let's talk about that day.
Yes. So Eden has a great, looking at hairstyle as a professional hairstylist, you're looking at the person as a whole. You're not just looking at their hair texture, but you're also looking at their face shape, their body structure, and just, what they can wear. And when Eden, I just thought, oh, she's got a square face. It'd just be perfect to have a shorter hair. And at that time, you were kind of more like a bob, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
very, very momish.
Yeah.
But I was trying to be edgy all the time, but I don't know.
Yes.
Anyway.
So I kept talking to her about it, and absolutely not. She was not having it. And finally, I think more when you started really exercising and, sweating all the time, and you agreed to let me do it. And so that day, I brought in a bottle of wine, and I think we both drank some of the wine. Yes, and she let me do it. She let me cut it from, I would say it was probably about here to pixie short.
Like shoulder length to pixie. And then during that time, you owned a salon, and you had April Schmidt, who was sadly has left us, but she was going through breast cancer treatments, and she came in with her bald, beautiful head while I'm sitting there drinking wine, getting a pixie cut, mourning the loss of my hair, and she walks in and she's like, "It's just hair," and it was just it was like I don't know, just if you decide you want to try something like that, maybe do surround yourself with some girlfriends while you're there. Get everybody in the room and get everybody on board. But it was a big deal. But I loved it, and for years I loved it until I just didn't anymore.
Right.
And that's okay too.
Totally. Hair is, it's like relocating. I mean, we got to change ourselves up a little bit, and that's something else. As your hair changes, sometimes you have to change your style. Like it's not, oh, this is the way I always wear my hair. Open up your mind and think about doing something different. As your hair gets thinner, sometimes it's best to switch your part, because the hair gets used to a certain place and in which you're always styling it that way. So changing your part can make a huge difference in the way that it actually looks without even changing your style.
Are we allowed to part our hair on the side? I heard from the Gen Zs that it has to be straight down the middle now.
Oh, well, that's not happening either out there, Gen Zers, or whoever made that one up. Because if you have a cowlick, you need to work with your own hair. That's my opinion. Like, I have a cowlick, so I have to do it to the side. But I think that's the thing is, especially now with social media, you have to do it this way. You should do it that way. But your own hair. You know what your hair... I just can't even think that way, because my hair has a life of its own. And speaking of washing your hair, because I used to wash my hair thinking it was better to wash my hair more often. But when you have hair like this, it would take me forever every week. So I slowly worked up to now I'm at once a week, which freaks people out, but your hair really does get used to it. And also my hair is very thick, so I don't have fine hair, so it's not weighed down by not washing it. But really, what is the best? Should you go a week without washing your hair? Should you just see how your hair feels? If you're an exerciser like Eden, who exercises every single day, what is your opinion on that?
So again, as we get older, everything is changing, and typically the moisture in our body is different. I am a huge proponent of not washing your hair. I wash my hair once a week as well.
Oh, same.
And I am an exerciser, and I am a sweater, but I think of it gives my hair more body.
Yeah, me too.
You're applying a sea salt spray to create this texture in your hair, so why not use your own? That's exactly what it is. So the less you wash your hair, the better. If you have a finer fabric and your hair's getting greasy on the top, I suggest trying a dry shampoo first. The biggest thing about dry shampoo, especially with finer fabric hair, is you want to keep the product away, further away. You don't want to get too concentrated with it, because it can actually congest the follicle.
Oh,
so you
really?
want to stay, absolutely.
Okay.
So occasionally, us that wash our hair once a week, we do, I would say probably once a month, you want to do some sort of a clarifying treatment just really on your scalp, because again, the mid shaft and the ends are a different fabric, but you can run it through at the end, because we have a lot of lime scale in our Jacksonville water. We have, even with the water softener, you want to get some of that buildup off. It will help your color tremendously. You definitely want to try to extend the amount of time that you wash your hair. It's life-changing.
It took a while, but I have to say it's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, someone recommended it, and I looked at them like they were crazy. And she said, just give it a couple months. And after a couple months, your hair gets used to it. And she was right. So
Totally.
that was like 5 years ago.
I'm learning a lot about, because I'm wearing curls now, and I'm following a lot of the women that I'm following on TikTok, and I know we have a lot of listeners that are women of color. And so I know that a lot of the things Marcy might be saying about the fabric of hair, there are very many different kinds of hair. But I've started using what's called co-wash, which is, it's really just conditioner. There's really no shampoo involved, but I just condition my hair. I don't even wash it anymore.
That's the best thing that you can actually do, because the shampoo is actually volumizing the cuticle, and when you have a natural texture hair, you really don't need any of that volume. So the conditioning is cleansing it enough without creating more volume to the texture. I am a huge proponent of conditioner, actually leaving conditioner in the hair. It helps manage, humidity, we have moisture in the air already. It's creating more volume, so it really helps to keep the moisturizer in the hair. It shields it from the humidity. It also creates a lot of shine and makes the hair more supple, softer to touch, and it just looks better, especially on longer hair. I never rinse my conditioner out to the mid-shaft and ends, and I have fine hair. And you would think, oh my gosh, that weighs the hair down. Well, I really don't concentrate the product at the base of the hair. I put it to the mid-shaft and the ends, and it creates, I have some texture to my hair as well, so I can wear it curly or I can wear it straight. I love conditioner and just leaving it in, and less product, the least amount of product that you use, the better. So mousses, and if you're going out and it's a special occasion, you want to pump it up and make it look more hair bouffant or coiffed. That's the word, coiffed. You want to use those sprays and such, but on the regular basis, less is more. Oils are great, but those are more of a polishing product. I like to use oils like the second, third, fourth day, just to kind of give it a little bit more separation. Mm-hmm. It's a little different than moisturizer. It's not necessarily, scientifically, it's not the same.
It's not cumulatively benefiting. Like, it's not. Is it benefiting you, or is it that more aesthetic, or not?
No, it is benefiting, but it's benefiting in a different way. So think about if you were putting a coconut oil on your skin opposed to a shea butter. Mm-hmm. You understand the difference? Like, it feels different. It's actually doing something different. The oil is actually sitting more on top, mm-hmm. Whereas the moisture is actually, I guess it's a molecular structure. I don't know. Something like that.
So what other questions do you have, Chris? Because I do want to get to some of the products you've brought to organize with, because we know we love to get our organizing tips in there. And then also I just want to recap, especially about the thinning and breaking hair, because I do recognize that seems to be the number one question.
I think the thinning and breaking hair,
so
because
let's go there.
That's what everybody asks is, now that I'm getting older, my hair is thinning. Mm-hmm. It's not as healthy. It doesn't, it doesn't lay right. It's just dry, and we could go on and on.
So first of all, my question on ponytails, because you said you don't necessarily think that it's causing hair to fall out around the face, but what about the breakage? Which kind of, because they're all telling you they're the ones that are going to keep your hair from breaking. There's the kind that are coily, there's the regular old kind, there's the scrunchy
silk
that's
ones,
fabric.
The silk ones.
What should we be looking for?
You definitely want to use more of the fabric type scrunchie. It doesn't pull as tight as the elastic, mm-hmm. But when you do use those, you don't want to tie them super tight as well. It's mostly about that. The other, wearing hats all the time, actually, I believe there's something to be said about it's not allowing the follicle to breathe. So if you're you're somebody who works out and you have a finer hair fabric, go with a netted hat instead of a all over hat, because it's just basically the sun with the hat. It's just suffocating the hair.
Interesting.
styling.
Don't look over here.
I'm that girl. I know.
The products in which you use on fine hair and thinning hair, I strongly, number one, vitamin.
I agree with that too.
Difference.
I've noticed a big difference in vitamins.
Okay, well, even though you're not particularly pushing one particular vitamin, let's put the one, what was the name of the one you like?
Viviscal.
We'll put that in our show notes. Marcy's not here to sell that, but it's just something she personally uses. And if you are watching on YouTube or have seen one of our little clips on Instagram, then you know it's working.
It's working. It's working for me, for sure.
It works for her.
So vitamin, very important as we get older. The products in which we use are extremely important. You want to, when you have fine, thinning hair, your hair is compromised in its elasticity. So the elasticity is when the hair can revert back to its natural state when it's in a wet place or when it's pulled back. The hair should have a little bit, if you take one of your hair and just to see, well, how's my elasticity? And which everybody should check. Just pull the hair and see if it snaps without reverting back to its natural state, then your elasticity is compromised. So when you're blow drying your hair, you're brushing your hair, you're pulling back your hair, it's snapping. And you're not keeping the hair that's on your head. Basically.
So what do you do? What do you do?
So you want to use products that are have reconstructing. You want to look for words that would, and all the professional lines. And actually, that's something we also need to talk about is over the counter.
Okay,
let's
get into it.
Yes. So just like moisturizers for the face, there's a molecular structure that doesn't go deep into the hair shaft or skin. So I'm usually my clients who come in who use store-bought products, and I'm not a scientist, but I can usually diagnose it just by feeling their hair and say, you're not using professional products.
Okay.
What are you doing? Especially when, there's a few exceptions with people who have just like a cotton fabric, just an everyday, there are some that are blessed like that they have the hair that just, they don't have to do anything. It's just
or men who
perfect.
use shampoo to wash their bodies and their hair.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
My son was getting his hair cut once by a guy, and he felt his hair, and he said, "What are you washing your hair with?" And he said, "It's a 2-in-1." And he said, 2-in-1? Why don't you just use Windex, man?
Yeah, men, they'll wash, their bodies and their hair with the same thing.
Yes, and and if you feel the hair, you can usually tell, even when it's shorter. Especially,
so
you don't want to do that.
So right there, I'm seeing a title for this episode is, do you really need the more expensive shampoos and conditioners? And you're here to say, Marcy, that you can tell a difference.
I swear by them.
Absolutely.
I really do.
And the products are concentrated, so you're not using as much. So yes, you're paying more for the products.
But they last a long time.
You're
long
literally
time.
only wanting to use, for fine hair, you want less than a dime of shampoo.
Yeah.
So super concentrated. You're not wanting to use a lot. And then as far as moisturizer, a lot of people with fine hair say, oh, no, I can't use moisturizer conditioner because it weighs the hair down. That's not correct. Again, you're not concentrating the moisture conditioner on the new growth. You're concentrating it on the mid shaft and the ends, but you need to have a little bit of that. Otherwise the hair gets brittle and it does compromise the elasticity. The other product that fine hair, thinning hair people forget about is protein. And there's wonderful products that you can actually leave in the hair that have the benefits of putting in that keratin that the thinning hair is being compromised in.
So I feel like we could go on and on. We're actually at the end of our episode, but we have time for some organizing. But Marcy, are you willing, and I know not everybody listening is here locally. Right. We are in Jacksonville, Florida. If you're listening we know we have listeners in Singapore, in New Zealand, in Australia. We love that. Yeah. So are you willing to answer questions via direct message on your Instagram?
I would love that. That would be awesome.
We're going to put it in our show notes, but tell everybody how to find you on Instagram.
You can find me at Top Notch Marcy DeSanto on Instagram or on Facebook, Marcy DeSanto. And if you're local, I'm at Madison Avenue Salon in the beautiful Sawgrass Shopping Plaza in Ponte Vedra Beach.
Okay, and once again, that will be in our show notes. You'll find Marcy. But if you have questions, if you've been listening, you're like, they just almost got to the question I have, but not quite. Marcy just said, she will answer your question. And now that I'm considering myself kind of a tried and true expert on the whole curling thing, because did you know there's like plopping?
Oh,
Have you heard
heard
about
of that
plopping
too.
and washing with a bowl?
Yeah.
There's all this stuff that I'm learning on TikTok. You can always find me at Eden Kendall on air on Instagram, and I'll answer questions. I can tell you more what not to do because I haven't found the perfect, but I can tell you some things not to do before you make the mistakes I did. All right, so if you went into my bathroom, you would see all the stuff I've tried that didn't work, mixed all in with the stuff I tried that does work. So take it away, neatly designed Christine Stone.
Well, I couldn't let hair care products go, especially with me being the hair care guru that I am, without talking about the organization. And so many people try hair care products that they hate, that weighed their hair down, that made their hair frizzy, and they don't either give them to a friend, let them go, and I come in and there's just tons and tons of hair care products, or hairspray that has one little spray left in it and they have like 6 backstock bottles. So of course, that's the first thing you have to do is purge all of those products that you no longer need, use, or want. And then it's so important to have a way to be able to see what you own so you don't go and buy more of what you already have. And of course, I talk about Lazy Susans on Neatly Designed all the time, but that is because they make it so easy to see what you have, especially when it comes to hair care or skin care. And this one's great because this has a removable container so you can keep all of your hair ties in it. And then this is a new favorite. These are both for my design, but this is a hair care organizer for hot tools. The rubber part removes, so you can just plop it in a drawer and use this for all other products, but it just keeps all your hair tools neat and organized. So whether it's under a sink, in a drawer, it's so important to purge and then organize them.
I have about 3 or 4 different hot irons floating around my house. There's nobody in my house that uses a hot iron. I'm sorry, not a flat iron. I'm in a curling iron. Curling iron is what I meant to say. But anyway, so these items, you'll be able to find them on Instagram, on the Uncluttered and Unfiltered Instagram. Also, you can always watch our podcast on YouTube. A lot of people choose to do their podcast that way. Marcy, we appreciate you joining us.
It was so fun. Thank you
and
so
welcome
much.
to the club. You have found your people. You're not 50 yet, but we have opened our club gates. We're not being gatekeepers now. We're saying 40 plus.
Because we had such a big response from women 40 and older saying, I love it. I have to be included. So we were like,
all right.
Okay.
Well, I'm
you're
knocking
in.
on the door. 48, 49 this year. So
Okay.
Yeah, you're banging.
We're
You're
all
definitely
like,
banging.
Come on, my pretty. Come on.
But thank you, everybody, for the great response you've been giving us and all the messages. I mean, it's really been something to see that people really have found their people.
We love it. So Uncluttered and Unfiltered on all the socials. You can find us everywhere. Also unclutteredandunfiltered.com. That's to get on our email list so you never miss an episode. And also we love hearing from you. You want to leave us a voicemail? You can do that on any direct messaging app, Facebook, Instagram.
Or just
whatever.
message us on Instagram.
Just
we would
figure it
love
out.
to
Find
hear.
us.
Love to hear.
And until then, we invite you to let it go.
And don't look back.